Alrighty, so heading off for one island, or not island, K-N-O-T. By not serving, but by fishing, there's a few new Pokemon that you can find out here. One of them is Shoulder. It is only exclusive to FireRed, not in Leaf Green. So Leaf Green, you just get a little bit nerfed out of this. Shoulder is a pretty good defensive Pokemon. To evolve it, you need a Water Stone, but I'll cover that other Pokemon later on because you can actually find it out in the wild later on. It is a fantastic physical wall, and unfortunately it can't take a lot of special hits on it pretty well because its stats are here kind of pathetic. So I guess if you want to have a pretty decent water type that could take physical hits, I guess I could recommend this one. Next up, only exclusive to Leaf Green, you can actually find Krabby's Evolved Form Kingler out here as well. It is a really good physical water type Pokemon. Unfortunately, its special stats are not really that good, and its physical water type move does not exist yet in this game. What it lacks in special power and speed is definitely made up for with attack and defense. But like I said, its physical attack water type moves it does not exist yet, not until the next generation. It's a great Pokemon after this generation and onward, but it's knowing how to use it properly. So if you want a really good water type Pokemon that's great for physical power, Kingler's your guy. Next up by surfing, which can only be found in Leaf Green, is Staryu. Staryu is actually not a bad water type. It gains an awesome evolution. Starmie by Water Stone. I don't think you could find Starmies out in the wild. But you know what? I guess I'll just go ahead and cover it anyway. So Starmie is a fantastic special attacker, and it's also a really good defensive Pokemon for both physical and special, making it a very good balanced out water type. And I was correct, you actually cannot find these Pokemon out in the wild, which is slightly unusual. But anyway, what it lacks in HP is definitely made up with special attack and speed. It is actually one of the fastest water psychic types out there. If you want to have a pretty decent balanced out water type, Starmie could be a pretty good Pokemon to go for. Next up, we have Tentacruel. Tentacruel can be found by surfing out here. A lot of people underestimate it. It's a really good special wall. Despite how common you can find these two Pokemon are, they're actually really good. You didn't see anything. Anyway, if you want a really good special wall on your team, this is a good Pokemon to go for. A lot of people underestimate it. With stat totals like that, how could you go wrong with it? On an island called Treasure Island, which is just south of the main islands of Knot Island, you can find Persians. It is the one new Pokemon that you can find down there. Persian is a fantastic Pokemon. It's also really quick. I think it's actually the fastest normal type in this game. So if you want to have a really fast normal type, Persian could be good. It's really hard to raise because of his lackluster stats, but if you could do it, I highly recommend this one if you want to have a really fast normal type. That's pretty much all that it's going for. It's not a bad Pokemon, but I think it's just kind of outclassed a bit by a few Pokemon like Snorlax. But, you know, you make that choice. Heading straight up to Mount Ember on the road called the Kindle Road, while using Rock Smash, you can find Graveler, the evolved form of Geodude. Graveler is a really slow defensive wall. To evolve it, you need to trade with someone to get Golem. So Golem is the ultimate wall of the group. Yeah, its defensive stuff is like almost through the roof, but unfortunately, it is really freaking slow. Since it has several quad weaknesses to water and grass, this thing is a Pokemon that is mainly known for taking physical hits, which means anything that hits it with a special attack is going to go down. But it is a really good wall. I guess if you want to have a pretty good wall, this one is probably one that I can recommend a bit. But personally, I think there's some better walls out there. Next up, another new Pokemon you can find out here is Ponyta. And its evolved form, Rapidash. Rapidash is really hard to find out here on Kindle Road, but if you can find it, it's a really good Pokemon to have. It is also the fastest fire type in the game, outclassing even Charizard for that. So if you want to have a really good, fast fire type, Rapidash is good. The problem with this is that it's mostly a physical offensive Pokemon rather than a specially offensive Pokemon. But like I said, it's still not bad, but personally, I think it's just kind of an unusual Pokemon. It's kind of like Vulpix, only kind of better. It's mostly known for being fast and good for dealing physical damage, which unfortunately, its physical attack moves don't exist in this game, but all in all, it's a really good Pokemon. So heading off for 2 Island, or Boone Island, there are a couple of new Pokemon that you can find out there. One of them is Golduck, exclusive to FireRed. Golduck is actually not a bad water type. Its special powers on here are not too bad, but personally, I think there are some better water types out there. I mean, if you already gotten yourself a Blastoise by this time in the game, I probably wouldn't really recommend this one. But if you're looking for a decent water type, I guess this one is okay to use. Much like Starmie, it's kind of a nice balanced out water type Pokemon. But like I said, I think there are some better water types out there. Its stats are okay, but personally I think its move pool just doesn't really suit it that well. So, there's Golduck for you. Next up in Leaf Green is Golduck's counterpart, and exclusive to Leaf Green is Slowbro. Slowbro is a little bit faster than Slowpoke, but it's more of a physical wall, which is slightly unusual, seeing how it's a psychic type Pokemon. Personally, like I said with Golduck, I think there are some better water types out there. Since it takes a lot of good hits from physical damages, pretty much anything that's powerful enough to take it out with special attacks, it's likely going to go down. And another problem with this thing is, it has a crazy ton of weaknesses, like 4 or 5 weaknesses in total. So, if you want to go for a defensive Pokemon that's only in Leaf Green, I guess this one is okay to use.